Can you imagine being 13 years old and having to stand in front of the United Nations and deliver a speech on behalf of your nation? That is exactly what Autumn Peltier had to do at such a young age. She's been walking as a water protector for the Anishinaabe Nation and all Indigenous people that deserve clean water. Check out this interview with Autumn and hear her story and why it's so important for her to stand up for the water.
Sego, Scano, thanks so much, Layla, for coming and just sitting down with us for a second. I'm glad that our paths have finally crossed. We've been watching your water journey, inspired by it and driven by it. Why do you feel like it's important that we share our stories, that our stories are being told, that we're being represented in film, documentaries, in music and media?
The job that I carry is, empowering youth, and I think that it's so important because the youth voices are so powerful, and that's something that I've learned throughout my work and my journey, because when the message is coming from a young person, whether that's Indigenous or non-Indigenous, the message is so much more powerful because you generally wouldn't think that a young person is going to speak up and talk about these types of things, whether that be like political or world issues. A child or a youth should not have to speak up and use their voices, but when we do, it's powerful, so I encourage people to empower the youth, whether that be your niece, nephew, cousin. Empowering youth is very important.
Amazing. One of the things that I want to share with our audience is just some advice on the challenges that you've faced, because it's not an easy journey. It's not an easy process to keep sharing our stories, to keep talking and to keep doing this. What would you say has been some of the big challenges and how have you faced it?
Well, I've faced a lot of bullying from peers and people around my age, and that definitely was a difficult time for me. I feel like I'm kind of growing out of the bullying now because I'm getting a bit older, but when I did go through that, it was, again, very hard, but it's really learning what to put your energy into, and I felt like it doesn't really matter what people think or say because, the message that I'm carrying is very important. That's kind of what I looked at, and one other thing for me was my Auntie Josephine. And my Auntie Josephine was doing this work long before me, before I was even born. And before she passed away, I was with her, and she had whispered in my ear, never stop doing the work, don't let anybody stop me, and she just keep loving the water. And so that kind of always sticks with me every time that I feel kind of discouraged or a bit less empowered is knowing that there's young kids looking up to me, and just kind of hearing their little things, saying oh my gosh, you're like Moana, and then they think I'm this like Disney or superhero. So just what kind of role model will I be if I kind of let people get to me and give up? So it's those kind of things I like to remind myself when times get a little tough.
Yeah, and it's important for the youth to see, someone like them, to see them represented in movies and films, and it gives them, if she can do it, I can do it, Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Autumn. I really appreciate you being here, just taking that time to share your story. It's inspiring. Awesome. Loves. Yeah. Cool.
I commend Autumn. She is an amazing leader and inspiration and role model to our youth, and a voice that must be heard. When it is the voice of our youth that is telling us to wake up about the situation with water, we have to pay attention.